Morning, Flosstube. It is Monday, February 17th, 2020. My brain keeps trying to tell me that it is the end of February already. I don't know where my concept of time has gone. It's been a wild couple of weeks at my house. I thought that last Tuesday I was going to do a Flosstube video after I got home for the night, but instead I wound up spending the night in a cot in a hospital room and at 3 a.m. laying there wide awake, remembering I don't like hospitals at all, and I hate that particular hospital. It is the place I've told my husband I won't go there and our children won't go there unless the drive to the other hospital would put our lives in danger. Serious danger. I hate that hospital. Things worked out well. The big horrible thing that I alluded to in my last video has worked its way down to a manageable thing. The little ordinary life stuff is still just biting me at every turn. I still don't have a refrigerator. The guy is supposed to come on Thursday. Cross your fingers he can fix it, because the orchestrations we've been doing to keep food cold are ridiculous. We use the fridge in the trailer, but apparently it has a loose fuse, and if you walk across the floor it jars loose and then your food doesn't stay cold. It's awesome. I have stitched a little. I did not stitch at all for almost 2 weeks, but before that I had some stuff done that was going to be in the last video, so here's that. I've been working on Dutch Still Life, my Reolist kit for the Reolist Salle. That green thing is a leaf. I finally know what I'm stitching. And if you don't remember what that one is going to look like, there you go. Cannot wait to get to the orange and the cheese and the grapes, and it's fun. I am enjoying it, and the black is not nearly as hard to work on as I feared it might be. So I'm excited for this one. I'm going to keep working on it. I am still working on Pyramid of Skulls. I see skulls now, don't you? I just have some filling in to do, and I got in the mood for confetti stitching and really got a lot done on this. I don't know after my unexpected break if that mood has stuck with me or not, but I will figure it out soon. This morning I got up stupidly early and worked on the Emerald City Salle, which is part of the Pacific Northwest Stitchers stitch-alongs some of the gals are doing. I love this thing. One night, as the clock was ticking, I decided I was going to jump over and let myself start the Wicked Witch. I got all of her done in one evening, and I got a whole lot of the Flying Monkey done this morning. I am not good at centering my projects when I don't do grid lines. I don't know what I did here. And then I cut my fabric crooked. So I was really worried about how much I might have left when I got up here to the top, but that's not bad. I'm planning on doing some kind of quilted wall hanging. I can work with this. I can make this work. And I just love it. I know other people have their hand-dyed fabric and some really gorgeous stuff. I've got to learn to dye fabric or get more money to buy fabric or something, but I'm really happy with this. DMC White Thrift Store Aida, it is working. I could have done I've seen other people doing things that are prettier, and I love their things, but what I've got going on is not bad either. We had an unexpected trip. At the very last minute, it turned out that my parents couldn't use their timeshare at the coast. The week was scheduled and couldn't be canceled. Well, the room could have sat empty. It could have been canceled in that sense, but why leave the room sitting empty? And my little household here, we were the only ones who could juggle our schedule around. I think we had 4 days warning or something. And so we went over and we spent a week, and it was fun. My husband and I went for the weekend and then came back to pick up our youngest 2 kids and take them over with us. And it was fun. While we were there, I finished the god-awful socks, guys. These don't make any sense. If you look at this one, you can see all the slubs in the yarn. This yarn, it is Mary Maxim Tropical Breeze. I used to be ore on a pair of socks that I knit. It was fragile and loosely spun, but fine. The deeper I got into the skein, the worse the stuff got. It had spots that were spun so tight they were the thickness of DMC embroidery thread. It had spots that weren't spun at all. It was a nightmare, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And if I had common sense, I probably should have just gone, no more. But I have socks. They are done. I am going to stuff them in the drawer where I keep my finished socks that I haven't worn yet. I haven't even tried them on to see if they fit because I do not care, because I have no desire to wear these because they're horrible, horrible things. But they're done, and I persevered, and there's that, I guess. I showed you last time the shawl that I was having all kinds of fiddly trouble with. I'm going to show you the right side of it this time. I have figured this out. This is my new mindless knitting for the moment. This is going to go till it's 30 some inches, and then I'm going to, one of these edges I'm going to pick up stitches and then knit the triangle out from there. Found the name of it, don't know how to pronounce the name of it, Jette. Someone want to tell me how to pronounce that? By Drops Design. It is a free pattern, and I think I've shot myself in the foot because I'm supposed to be using fingering weight, and I think I'm using lace weight, but I'm not quite worried or excited enough to do the math and figure it out. It's a triangular shawl. It may be, worst case scenario, a little smaller than the pattern specs, but I can live with that. And I've been wanting to do a striped shawl forever, so I can be happy with that. See, what else have I got going on here? I've got so much going on. Not much of it stitch related, but that's okay. Before we left for the trip, when I still didn't know we were going to have a trip, I put together a video showing everything I've finished over the last decade. I can't remember, there were like 300 and some projects, 111 pairs of socks. It was really interesting for me to put back together because I could look back and see where my productivity took a nosedive and why my productivity took a nosedive, which was not a happy thing to see. Brought back some memories I could have done without. I would love to go do the years before that, and I don't know if I have pictures that I can pull that together or not, just for my own entertainment. The reason I did this was I had been thinking about that estate sale with all the dimensions kits and how many things she had stitched and how amazing that was. And if I sit down and look at what I've done, I'm pretty productive too. I get a lot done. I've got a lot of quilts that didn't show up in that decade because they were in the years before, and so I'm not a slacker. I feel like a slacker this year because the awful socks are so far my only finish for 2020. And I've been working on these since October. I gotta put these in a drawer before I lose it and throw them away. If you remember back in November after the coast trip with my mom, we talked about, I was going to post the tutorial for the snap bags. I never did figure out how to twist the video back the right direction. On the bright side, I figured out what I did with the camera that made it make that mistake so I can keep it from happening again. I cobbled it together into not exactly what I originally wanted, but what I think is a decent enough tutorial. So if you want to sew yourself an easy zipperless project bag using a measuring tape as a snap, I got the video up now and I'll post a link to that. Post links to the project sources. And we went last weekend before last, how do we count last weekend? We went to an estate sale. We had the night before, we're driving on a back road at the coast and passed a sign that said estate sale 8 miles. So we followed the sign because if you're that far out of the country and there's an estate sale, you follow the sign if it's a weekend. The sign didn't lead anywhere. So the next morning we were checking out Craigslist and found an ad. Moving out of state, everything must go. I can't remember what all was in the ad. Good stuff. So we headed out. It was the same sign. But there was an ad now, so hey, we followed the sign again because we don't learn from our mistakes or something. So you follow the first sign 8 miles, then there's another sign pointing off another 8 miles. At this point we have an address because of the Craigslist ad, and the GPS is telling us to make a right turn if possible and drive 5 miles if possible, and then make another turn if possible. We were so far off the beaten track. And it was raining, and the area was flooded, and we were in the minivan, and my husband was driving. If he gets the minivan stuck in the mud, he knows how to get it out. And it's not my fault because it was his idea to go to the estate sale. We actually got into the place with no trouble at all, and it was a neat place. I wish I could have taken pictures for a blog post, but it was one of those. Sometimes I get the feeling that it's okay to take pictures, and sometimes I get the feeling that I really shouldn't take pictures, so I didn't take pictures of this one. It was a group home, and if you watched my most disturbing estate sales video, you will see the last group home estate sale we went to, which I still think that place was a cult. My daughter found the building is for sale, and she forwarded me the real estate listing. Apparently the proprietor was renting the place and making 30 grand a month in his group home, which makes it a little more creepy maybe than it was when we saw the place, because yeah, he was making money off people. This place had a super happy, cheerful, artsy vibe that nothing spooky, except I wanted to call my daughter to see if her husband would want something we found there, and there is no cell reception out there. It was in Logston, Oregon, which I had never heard of. It is out behind Salle, Oregon, if that gives you any idea. I found this. I am just giddy. I hit the handwritten recipe box motherlode, guys. Almost all of what is in here is handwritten recipes. I counted some and measured and did the math, and conservatively, I think there are over 700 recipes in here. This lady really liked chicken, and she really liked Jello salad. I need to go through it. I haven't gone through it all. And it is all, I can read cursive. I'm curious whether this is all one woman's cursive. I don't think it is. Some of these are typed. I'm just in love with this. I love old recipe books. I love old recipe books. I especially love old recipe boxes. And the idea that I found one this huge. Price tag on it is $6. And I showed it to my husband, and he questioned whether it was worth that, and I kind of wanted it, but I didn't want it enough to put up a fight for it, because sometimes when we're out estate sailing, there will be that thing that we are going to fit in the car no matter what, so I save my arguments for those things. So we'd gone out to the barns and went into the other outbuildings, went and got in the car. And he turned to me and he told me, go get the recipe box. So I went in with my $5 bill and my $1 bill to get the recipe box, handed it to the old gal running this sale, and her first response, she looked at the price tag, her first response was, oh, no, no, no. And my heart sank, because this was one of those sales where they've got stuff that has price tags from the estate sales they bought it at, and then the higher price tags that they're asking for it. No, it turned out that this was her mother's recipe box. The lady running the sale had made the box herself. She sold it to me for $1, guys. I am so tickled. I am just crazy giddy. There's a drawer, and this is all like cut out of magazines recipes in the drawer, but I am just tickled. I swear this thing had another knob up here when we started this. I can find 3 new knobs that'll match. It'll work. I just love this. I made a mistake. I did not ask the lady her mother's name. I wish I had, because then I could say that this was Sarah's recipe box, or help me come up with a name for my lady who lived in a logging town in the backwoods of Oregon. It needs a name. I'd rather have the real name, but if I need to make up a name to discern it from the others, because I swear I'm going to keep buying these if I keep finding these. I was watching something about recipe boxes and the importance of recipe boxes. My mom had a little plastic one. It had maybe 400 or 5 handwritten recipes, could be totally wrong, but it was mostly stuff cut out of magazines. And I think it was mostly stuff cut out of magazines that hadn't been tried. If I had to guess at what was in that box, it was Grandma's pickle recipe, Mom's banana bread, Great Grandma's turkey stuffing, and I think that might be it. We didn't have family recipes. My little household here, we got all of the family recipes, but not a one of them is written down. My daughter will like call me when we're on vacation and ask how to make the peanut chicken, and I'll rattle it off from memory, and there are no measurements, and nobody knows how my husband makes his stuff because that's all in his head. We need to write that stuff down. He has actually been bringing the boys in and showing them how to do the stuff, so you know, it's really petty to say if something happened to my husband, we wouldn't have the awesome clam chowder anymore, but his stuff would go with him. So that got morbid. Really morbid. Do you have recipe box? Do the women in your family history have recipe boxes? Because I don't think we had any. At least nothing on this scale. Nothing memorable that should be saved and kept for generations to come. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, we're going through, that estate sale was just fun. There was, aside from the recipe box, nothing I really needed. But we're out in the barn, and in a corner on a shelf was a Ouija board in its box. And my brain is like, what kind of crazy people keep Ouija boards in their barn? Because, yeah, I am oblivious to the fact that there's one in my barn and has been since we moved in, and it's not mine. It must have a story. I don't know what the story is. All I know is it's not allowed in the house. And I'm great with not allowing it in the house, but I'm not the one who made that call. I am off to buy groceries again. My last video I talked about my starving sons, and we did go buy groceries after I filmed, and I swear they tried to set a new record for how much of it they could eat in the car on the way home. Kitchen's picked bare again, so we're going out to grocery outlet and the Scratch and Dent and Winco and Safeway and get to spend way too much money buying way too much food. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Michelle with Michelle's Romantic Tangle. I will put links to the stuff I talked about. Let me know if you want to know what's in the recipe box and you have a suggestion for Our Lady's name, because if it's interesting, I might do a video about that. And I will be back with more videos soon. I hope the next couple of days are full of crazy, but I hope after that things are going to finally settle down. Thanks again for watching.